Leggies, Rayan and Rashid both playing together. How excited are you about that?
Yeah, very excited. I thought Rayan bowled fantastically well in the ODIs. Adil's been brilliant for a long period of time, so to see the two of them operate together will be cool.
Sam Ellis speaking with Jos Butler just a few moments ago. So Gareth Batty alongside myself, John Norman, Jarrod Kimber as well. Got the band back together, guys. Bats, you first. First thoughts about this new look with a couple of old faces in there. England team for this first T20.
Yeah, I mean, good evening first and foremost. It's kind of exciting because the 50 over stuff didn't quite go to plan in that series just gone. So you just feel like this is the start of England's World Cup preparation. Jos Butler going back to the top of the innings for the 2020 stuff. There's some absolute dynamite youngsters who are starting to trail, start their careers, I suppose, and blaze a trail. Phil Salt's opening with him, he plays a shot of ball often. Obviously Will Jacks, who went nicely in the 50 over stuff to come after, and then there's a few faces that we've seen across all formats in Ducket and Brooke, who's had a wonderful year. So it's an exciting time to be having a go first on what looks like a good surface in Barbados.
Well, we heard from the West Indies skipper Rovman Powell. He suggests that having had a look at it, that really formed his opinion about what to do first. Good batting track. West Indies will bat second. And opening up with the bowling, it's Akil Hussein, who didn't play in the ODI squad. In fact, he must have arrived in Barbados, if not yesterday, the day before. He's been playing in the UAE in a T10 league, and we're about to get underway here on TalkSport 2. A ball that just a little bit of turn into the right-handed Phil Salt. And it's punched into the covers and fielder. Jarrod Kimber alongside me. There used to be a big conversation about whether Butler should open, but I think we put that one to bed. In T20 cricket anyway.
He seemed to do okay, didn't he?
I think so. I think the stats probably back that up. Just backs away here. Good crowd in. It is a night game in Barbados, so the Caribbean Sea isn't glistening in the background. But it's a successful partnership here. Phil Salt and Jos Butler. They've been together on numerous occasions. They've got a good opening record.
Spin one, yeah. Spin one, buddy. Come on.
And Hussein about to bowl his second delivery is in, and this is edged. A diving attempt at first slip. Went close to the fielder and rattles away to the boundary for 4.
Yeah, first signs of we've seen a bit of Hussein in this T10 stuff. He generally drives the ball into back of a length, and as we see with that one, he can bowl this almost like a seam up old school arm ball that drifts in to Salt, cramping him for room, so the ball ends up getting real tight on him. He's trying to get to that leg side and force it through the offside. Slip has no chance. It's flown past him for 4.
Yeah, that went at some pace. But Salt is down here. This is a beautiful shot. Rides the bounce and just helps it up and over. And Phil Salt adds another boundary to his score. 8 without loss England after 3 balls.
Yeah, this is clever batting. He's learnt from the ball before. The ball isn't really going to do him on the outside edge, so he's actually got a little bit across his stumps, got the sweep into play. There's a gap out there. Wonderful batting from Salt.
Looks like the ball's just picked up a little bit of something, so the umpire's going to remove that. I'm not sure if you've ever travelled from one continent to another and not only changed countries, continent, but formats within the space of 3 days. But Hussein, and he's in again now. This is played not quite coming forward. Almost misjudges the length a little bit. Salt there, pushes his hat into the covers. Yeah, from T10 to T20. I mean, that doesn't ask too much of a bowler, but certainly travelling that kind of distance between the two. I know it's a new world for cricket these days. Steps back this time, does Salt, and a first view of the returning Andre Russell. And even an Andre Russell from 15 years ago would have failed to stop that or chase it down before it reaches the point boundary. And that's the third 4 of the over.
Yeah, it's pace on the ball again that Salt has really gone after. This is up in the high 90s k's per hour, and Salt's thriving off that at the minute. The only ball he's not really looked to score heavily off is the one that he dropped into the 80s. Can he be brave and take some pace off?
Last ball of the opening over, and this will be a single to Miroff, fielded by Alzari Joseph, and Salt comes through for a single. So 13 from the first over, a good one for England. And your thoughts at these early stages, Jarrah Kimber?
Yeah, it's very interesting that they've scored so well off this first over. So Akil Hussein is the 6th most economical bowler in T20 cricket over the last 3 years. So he's been going at 6.79 runs an over. So he's a distance away from Sunil Narine, but close enough. There's a lot of left-arm finger spinners up there as well, especially a lot of the Bangladeshis. And so getting after him, I know one of them was an edge, but putting pressure back on him is quite important. The most, the least economical spinner, Liam Livingston.
Who plays today? Were you surprised a little bit about the makeup of the two sides? It seems to be going in. Is this with an eye to the West Indies with an eye to winning this match, and England with an eye to the World Cup in June, just with Ahmed and Rashid playing today?
I don't know what the West Indies are doing because Andre Russell's here. It's very confusing to me, if we're being honest.
Holder, first ball of his over. And good bounce here, but ridden comfortably enough by Phil Salt. We're going to see Jos Butler for the first time in the match. 14 without loss here on TalkSport 2. You can join us on the TalkSport Cricket YouTube channel as well. If you're watching, then welcome. If you're listening, same to you.
I mean, West Indies have an alarming amount of all-rounders who bowl right-arm seam, don't they? Like, it's a weird squad. You've got Robin Powell, Romario Shepherd, Andre Russell, Jason Holder. I know they're all different kinds of bowlers, but that's a lot of right-arm seam who likes to whack it. So, yeah, it's interesting. They also didn't pick Moti, who I thought bowled beautifully in the ODIs.
Holder again, and again, good bounce. And Butler just plays this down to gully, where there's a shy of the stumps of the non-strikers end. We'll have a little look to see whether Phil Salt had advanced down the track. I imagine he had done.
Bats, did you see Moti, Gudakesh Modi bowl? He spun the ball a long way in that series.
Yeah, did bowl very nicely, and he's a little bit unorthodox, isn't he? Not sort of traditional, shall we say, as a spinner, but yeah, it's of course, selection nowadays. You can't predict it, can you?
Holder again is in. This is well wide down the leg side, and called as much. Holder had an incredible series against England in that T20 series at the start of last year. It took 4 wickets in 4 balls to wrap up victory in that 5th T20, all of which were played here at Bridgetown. The player of the match in two of the games, player of the series. He's just turned down a West Indies contract though. He's in again, and Butler will get off the mark.
Definitely good bounce from Holder, going into the splice of the England captain Jos Butler's bat there. That's high on the bat. Hits the bat hard. Anybody watching or knows Holder would know that his speeds are not particularly fast, but with his height and the strength of ball that he possesses, it hits the bat very hard.
And he's got a terrific record against England, of course. Darren Sammy, the new coach of the West Indies. He's been in position for about 6 months now. Down the leg side again. There's a little shout behind the stumps, but there's nothing on that. So wide will be called again.
Would it be fair to say that Sammy's brought a bit more unity to the islands?
I'd say so. I mean, look, he's managed to convince Andre Russell to come back. Russell hasn't played a T20 for West Indies in 2 years. Holder didn't play in the ODIs. I mean, a number of this squad have just come back from the UAE. Holder, Hussein, Russell and Myers, all 4 playing today, and all were playing T10. They missed the ODI squad. Fraction more width this time. No timing, and a shot at the stumps of the non-strikers then. So another single. But yeah, that's always the problem, isn't it, with the West Indies? I mean, if you look at the domestic 50-over league, and the top wicket taker is Sunil Narine, and of course he's retired from West Indies officially. I mean, some would say that he retired unofficially some time ago. But managing to get the players on the park, Fuller and Butler will take a 1 bounce 4 over long on, and the score moves along, 22 without loss.
Yeah, it just goes up, and just far too full from Holder, trying to find that little bit of swing that he does. A great skill set to find that outside edge, but this time, just for a tall man to get that full, it's got to go up out of the hand. Josh Butler is never missing out on that. I don't think his position was perfect, but he just persuaded it over long on. Nice start for him.
Just drags the length back, a touch, pushed into the covers, no run.
Jason Holder in the power play in the last 2 years has an economy of 8.26 and a bowling average of 49. So he hasn't been bowling there a lot. He hasn't been bowling there particularly well. There is a bowler in this team, well, 2 bowlers in this team, Romario Shepherd, who goes at 8.3, and Alzari Joseph, who goes at 8.7. So I'm not sure after this start exactly where they throw the ball. The one bowler they thought would go very well, Akil Hussein, has gone for runs. They've already used one of their seamers. They've only got other seamers who also get hit in the power play. So it'd be interesting to see what their changes are. Oh, we've got the overclock.
Of course, it's the first match where officially we have the stop clock. Essentially, you've got 60 seconds from the end of an over to make sure you're in position to start bowling the next over, and it seems to have worked.
He didn't have to go far, Akil Hussein, though, did he?
Not really.
He's got about 2 steps in his run-up.
Yeah. It's the rest of the team as well, though, I suppose. Hussein is going to bowl his second over. The first one was expensive, no timing as Salt pushes this up to Alzari Joseph at mid-off. No run, 22 without loss.
Something in the speed there. He's round at 90 clicks. He has been up as quick as 98. There's just a little bit of hold in the surface when he just brings that speed down a fraction.
Hussein again. This is edged, well, leading edge really. Deceived by pace, possibly. Salt goes through with a shot, and this balloons between point and cover point and away for a couple of runs, but he wasn't in control of that shot whatsoever.
I don't feel it.
Yeah, Salt persevering with trying to get leg side of the ball and trying to force against that angle in through the offside, and that time just sort of spewing off the outside edge. A bit of a nothing shot from him.
It was almost as though he was trying to place the ball but along the ground, but the ball just lobbed up really. That was a fortunate moment for Salt.
It's what Hussein feeds off. He's expecting, because he's a left arm spinner, that people think it's going to spin away from the bat. He feeds on going into that right hip.
Salt again, this is the wrong line. Clipped away off the pads and an easy single. West Indies had this problem in the ODIs as well, didn't they? I mean, Romario Shepherd, I think his economy was 12 against England. Does pick up wickets, but I think they started this over. Matthew Ford, who is in the squad, doesn't play today on debut. But did Shepherd, who was opening the bowling? It was only a few days ago.
It was Shepherd and Joseph. So Joseph has been struggling for a long time with the new ball. Shepherd isn't a new ball bowler, but they gave it to him. He bowled really well in the middle overs when he bowled where he should be bowling. But yeah, there does seem to be an issue there. They've got a couple of younger players who haven't come through the way they would like.
Flex of the knees by Butler this time. No run, 25 without loss.
I mean, they would have expected one of O'Shane Thomas and Obed McCoy to be at least a regular player by now, and neither of them are that close to being that.
Hussein again, fraction more width, and this is driven mid-office, position wide, beats the fielder and reaches the boundary. 29 without loss, England.
Yeah, you could just see him at the end of his mark there, Hussein. I wonder if Butler saw this. He set it in his finger to bowl the arm ball, that one that drifts back in, but it starts sort of fourth off stump, which is just a little bit wide, and with that length to a quality player like Josh Butler, he's just going to throw his hands at it. Drilled it on the floor.
Well, you spotted it, didn't you? I saw you gesticulating. This turns away this time from Butler. Picks out Andre Russell at point. And that's a decent start for England here on TalkSport 2. 3 overs in, 29 without loss.
That's when T20 started. There was a lot of, let's call them David Hussey style bowlers who didn't spin it a lot but bowled, quite quick, what would you say, direct, but didn't get a lot on the ball. You see someone like Akil Hussein, and he bowls a lot of straight balls. He probably won't now because it's not working for him. But in a general day, you watch him bowl a lot of straight balls. But he buys that because of the ones he can spin, right? Like, you can't just get away with bowling straight anymore the way that you could in the early T20 days.
Yeah, I think you saw how he set that ball. It was almost like seam up with his finger, trying to get the drift. So it's not a straight ball. He's trying to swing it almost at good pace. Here is Holder, and this is pulled disdainfully by Phil Salt through mid-wicket and away for 4. Seized on the length,
enjoyed the pace, and the crowd liked that one.
Yeah, it just sat up, didn't it? That's when height goes against you. The big man holder looked like a bit of an off-cutter trying to go into the surface, but certainly a pace on off-cutter, and it just stuck in. And Salt, that's his meat and drink. He targets long on round to sort of mid-wicket early on in the power play.
Well, we know all about Phil Salt. He lived in Barbados, of course, as he gives himself room. Holder drags it down a touch. There's lots of width, and Salt just helps this up and over the circle on the offside and away for another 4.
Yeah, I don't think Holder's done as much wrong with this ball as he did do the previous. It's going sort of in and over off stump, but Salt up to the challenge, sort of backs away and gets deep in his crease and plays that new modern shot where people are trying to go off the back foot but up and over extra cover. It's a wonderful piece of batting.
What's Holder going to do here? Well, it's a good length delivery on off stump again. Good pace. Could be a mix-up here. Fielder throws to the wrong end, but Phil Salt would have got back anyway. 38 without loss. Middle of the 4th over. Joss Butler 9 from 7, but Phil Salt 27 from 14.
Yeah, Salt's really flown out of the traps, but it's the intent from England. You could hear it there on stump, Mike. Yeah, we'll have two. They're off. There's a real intensity to what England are trying to achieve in this early balls in the power play.
Yep, here's the early stages of the game as Holder is in, and Butler this time attempts to just ramp this over his shoulder. It gets a little bit on the ball, but not enough to beat the diving keeper, who fields it well actually. It's no run. If you stuck with us following our coverage of that big game in the Championship between Sunderland and Leeds, you're listening to the words of the head coach of Surrey, Gareth Batty, Jared Kimber, myself, John Norman. We'll be heading over to Barry Wilkinson very shortly at Kensington Oval as Butler just knocks this into the offside with the field pushed back on the circle. There's always a single there. 1 ball left of the 4th over, and England are 39 without loss.
Yeah, it's a nice partnership this, isn't it? Joss Butler giving himself some time. Whenever the West Indians have got it wrong, he's taken them to the cleaners with a boundary, but anything in between he's quite happy to bide his time, because Phil Salt gives him that luxury. He takes massive risks and he takes it to the bowlers.
Holder again, and there is a risky shot here by Phil Salt, but once again he's got just enough on the ball, not enough to get to the boundary. The ball pops up over mid-off and it's thrown back for a couple. Now is that little injury, look, the outfielder's come up. That's not really what you want to see, is it? Is that Shepherd?
Yeah, Shepherd. Yeah, he's had a big dive and his knee gets stuck in the turf. It's like that moment when you're expecting to slide as you've hit the deck and you almost stop instantly, which your knee is not enjoying that, and probably through your vertebrae the shock is not pleasant.
There's been a bit of rain in Barbados. The ODI on Saturday was a stop-start affair, and I think actually you could have probably just run it down. The ball kind of slowed up as it approached the boundary. Certainly Salt got no timing on the ball, it was all muscle. Talking of muscle, not you, Bats. Andre Russell is going to come on and have a little bowl.
You got to call him Dre Russ, haven't you? That's the new thing, Big Dre Russ.
I'm not sure it's the new thing. Leg delivery, swatted up and over Romario Shepherd again at mid-off. Won't reach the boundary on the fall, but 4 runs to the score. That was a loosener to end all looseners.
Yeah, and Butler hanging back. He's looking for that top of the stumps or even shorter length. They've obviously decided that this pitch is pretty good. You can hit through that back of a length. There's not a lot happening, and it's a pretty authoritative start for Butler against Russell.
Russell again past the umpire, and a swing and a miss from Butler. This time the bowler gets on over the batter. No damage done. 45 without loss. I mean, from the outside, I mean, we're approaching the end of the over. Well, approaching the stage where we're going to be thrown to Barry Wilkinson. So it may be a conversation for later in the piece, but you must have been watching on the World Cup, of course, at bats. Joss Butler, a guy you know well. Just seeing him struggle with the bat, certainly in 50 over cricket. As he sets himself again, just attempts to hit the ball over his shoulder. Russell believes he's got something on it. The keeper does too, but the umpire unmoved. Oh, West Indies about to go upstairs. Butler's got the old poker face on. I think Jared thinks that he got a little bit on it. Your thoughts, Bats?
Butler's reaction from as soon as it's gone through to Puran, the keeper, is shown nothing. So it's either a feather or he's nowhere near it.
Review for a caught at wicket.
Well, we're going to have a review.
No decision given on field.
Butler is shaking his head.
Fair delivery established. Can we move on to front on, please?
To Phil Salt, he doesn't think he's got anything on it, but we're about to find out.
It certainly won't be a particularly earned wicket. It's on leg stump. If he'd stood in his line, he could have hit it. Do you think he hit it?
Pretty close to the edge of the bat.
It does look like the ball deviates slightly, but it's almost impossible to tell from this angle. But we do have Hawkeye and Ultra Edge, so find out very shortly.
I mean, live, it just looked like he hit it to me. It looked like he just flicked it around the corner, but Puran was convinced, wasn't he? But
as was Russell.
Yeah.
As you say, it wasn't a great delivery. It was on leg stump. Good leg.
Standing by, gents.
Butler got into position. Got to feel if he'd stayed where he was, he could have swatted it anywhere. Well, the bowling team are moving back to their marks. We haven't seen anything here. Let's have a look.
Stretch comes up. Continue forward and forward. There's a flat line as the ball goes past the bat.
Very often when you listen,
there is no contact between bat and ball. I'm going to go back to Nigel on field. Nigel, I'm going to ask you to stay with your original not out decision. Go on screen now, make your signal.
So there we go. Butler didn't touch it, and the crowd will have given you that indication. Predominantly English crowd, but a good one in today. 45 without loss then, as Russell returns, and another swing and a miss. This leapt up a little bit more, and Butler feels that should have been called for height.
Yeah, I think that's that shot there, and the way he's gone about trying to hit the ball possibly says where Josh Butler is with his movement and his confidence with his batting. He's taken a bit of a hit in the World Cup, etc. Played nicely in a game a week or so ago, but it takes a bit of time to get that fluid movement back.
Russell again, 3 dot balls, and Butler does connect this time. More movement around the crease, and he turns a full delivery, clips it up and over. Fine leg for 6. 50 up for England in the 5th over. Butler's hit 10 from this Andre Russell over.
If in doubt, go to what you know. Josh Butler's tried it a couple of times, trying that ramp over fine leg that's up. Russell generally likes to go back of a length, so if he goes back of a length, almost got him previous ball, but then he's got to change his length. Can't keep doing the same. He's gone fuller, up and over fine leg for 6. Wonderful batting.
Last ball of the over, and Butler again is deceived by a slower delivery, loses his body shape, but 10 from the over. Butler moves to 20, Salt 29, and the score here on TalkSport 2 England, after being asked to bat first, 51 without loss. Bats, your thoughts?
I think it's quite a nice combination, this, not just on what we've seen in front of us. Salt goes real hard and takes the game to the opposition. It gives Butler a few balls to get into it. We've seen Josh in the last sort of 5 or 6 balls, as soon as Russell's come on, he's looked to take the attack to him and thrown caution to the wind. So I think it's a nice looking combination from England, and so far so good. 51 off 32 is a nice start.
Well, from one nice combination to another, let's head over to the Kensington Oval. Your commentary team, Samuel Badri and Barry Wilkinson.
Yeah, thank you so much. And it's going to be Alzarri Joseph, 26 wickets in 17 matches. Here he comes in and bowls to Salt, and Salt gets the delivery that's wide and down the leg side, pretty much like what we saw from Jason Holder. Signal wide now by the umpire, and that's another sundry to push the total to 52 without loss. If you missed the teams, the West Indies, Brandon King, Kyle Mears, Shea Hope, Nicholas Puran is keeping tonight. Shimron Hetymer, Rovin Paul, of course, captain. Romario Shepherd, Andre Russell, Jason Holder, Akil Hussein, and Alzarri Joseph. I'll give you England again just after this delivery from Alzarri Joseph. Steams him from the Malcolm Marshall end and bowls to Salt, and Salt is hitting this straight back down the ground. That's gone for 4 more. That as straight as an arrow. It was airy-fairy, but very effective, and the England side are certainly making hay while the sun is not shining. Samuel Badri, 56 without loss. Yeah, a rollicking start here from England. Remember, they were sent in by Rovman Powell, so they didn't know what sort of surface they were encountering, haven't not seen before. But what a start it is. This combination has worked really well. Here he comes in again and bowls to Salt, and Salt this time tails away, hits us in the air. This time it's going down to third man, and that's gone all the way. Going once, going twice, sold for 6 to Salt. 39 he's gone to, 62 without loss, and my goodness me, the England fans are certainly having a treat at Kensington.
It's been an assault from Phil Salt. He has been striking the ball really cleanly on either side of the wicket. There has been controlled aggression as well. It's not just been wild swinging. He's picked where he wants to hit the ball. He's hitting with the breeze on this occasion, that last 6, and it has been all-out aggression.
Joseph in again and bowls to Salt, and Salt this time is getting one on the line. The off-stump hustles a single at mid-off. Romario Shepherd is there. The single is achieved. And the thing about it is, England's batting is very deep. You've got Jos Butler, Phil Salt, Will Jacks, Ben Ducket, Harry Brooke, who made his debut here, of course, last year, Liam Livingston, Sam Curran, Chris Wokes, Rian Ahmed, Adil Rashid, and Hetymer Mills. So they've got a pretty deep batting lineup, and at this start, after 5 overs and 3 balls, you just wonder what this total could be like. We could be in for a very rollicking night. 63 without loss after 5.3. Here comes Joseph again. Back to his mark, the Antiguan fast bowler. Runs in, passes umpire Gustard and bowls as he tails away, and this time he's hitting this behind square. Is going down towards the boundary. Jason Holt is there, picks it up just about now, and Butler's going to come back for a brace. That's 2 more runs to the total. 65 now without loss after 5.4.
Yeah, and this is what they've done so well. So in addition to hitting the 6s and 4s, they've also run well between the wickets. They've picked up singles, and to add insult to injury, it's a no ball as well. So it's going to be a free hit. And who's the lucky recipient? Jos Butler. Zari Joseph just overstepping. Well, it's a huge no ball when we look at the replay on our screen. No doubts there from the third umpire. What can Zari Joseph do here now? He can't change the field, so he has to bowl with the same field, the 2 fielders out, fine leg and deep backward square.
Butler to get the free hit. Here comes Joseph and goes to Butler, and Butler's swinging this out today. Wide long on, that's 4. But that's making use of the free hit. He tailed away and swung it. There was no real panache in that shot. It was just a wild swing, and he could afford to do that being a free hit. And he didn't get the maximum 6, but he got 4. He'll be happy with that. He rushes now to 26, and this total is getting away from the Windies. England are 72 without loss.
Yeah, this is brutal, absolutely brutal from Jos Butler. Remember, not too long ago, he made a golden duck, first ball duck, but he's making up today.
Here comes Joseph in again and bowls to Butler, and Butler this time gets a slow delivery on the line. The leg stump turns it into the onside, forward of square, and there is just 1 run. So we've got 70 correction without loss. 70 without loss. Butler goes to 27, and Salt, he is on 40. Jos Butler hungry for some success. England have had a really rough couple of months. 3 matches won out of 9 at the World Cup, being defending champions, losing the series in the ODIs to the West Indies 2-1. So they really want to try and do something special in this 5-match series. The second one starts on Thursday in Grenada. Here comes Joseph now and bowls to Salt, and Salt this time gets a delivery that's wide and down the leg side, and that's missed altogether there by the keeper Puran, and it's gone into the boundary for 4. 5 all told. Well, that's very sloppy and perhaps significant, and sums up what we've seen from the West Indies tonight so far.
Yeah, the wheels are coming off, and it's only the 6th over. We're not even through the first power play 1 here. Going down the leg side, dropping short of Nicholas Puran and going through his legs. Should have gotten something behind that to stop it. That's 5 extra runs. An expensive first over from Zari Joseph. 25 conceded, 1 delivery remaining. 76 Barry Wilkinson, 1 delivery left in the power play.
And Matt Fingal is turned up with his band. Will that inspire the Windies as Joseph comes and bowls to Salt, and Salt gets the delivery that's down the leg side again, and he's turning it to the short fine leg for 1. So the Windies, of course, winning the toss. The average first innings score on this pitch for T20s is 155. I think that the rate England are going to definitely surpass that, given a miracle. We've got 6 overs gone, 77 without loss. Samuel, what do you think about this West Indies team? Was it a harsh decision, you think, to leave out Moti? If he did play, who would have come in? But the thing about it is, Moti has been bowling so well, I thought it was harsh to leave the left arm spinner out.
Yeah, I concur. When I looked at the surface, it seemed to be quite dry, and what we saw from Akil Hussein in his early couple overs was that there was some grip. England, on the other hand, they have at least 4 bowlers who they can rely on for some overs of spin. The 2 wrist spinners have been included. So from that standpoint, and you mentioned the fact that Gudakesh Moti has been in good form, I thought he should have been in the starting 11 for this particular game. Who could have been left out? That's the question. Romario Shepherd, maybe. Jason Holder, maybe. He's done well. He's a leading wicket taker here at the Kensington Oval. And Andre Russell just coming back in. So I can understand the conundrum in terms of the selection and who they possibly could have left out. But for me, Gudakesh Moti should have been in this playing 11 tonight.
It's always going to be difficult with Russell. Of course, he's the kind of player that if he's going to be in a squad, you can't put him to sit down. He always has to play if he's going to be in the squad. And that's going to be the unfortunate thing for some players like Moti, who's going to have to take the brunt of the senior player coming in at his expense. Well, Russell, speaking of the man, he's bowling now. Here he comes in to bowl to Salt, and this time this is delivery that's whacked in the air, out to mid-wicket, over mid-wicket, and that's out caught, brilliantly caught by Shimon Hetymer. They're going to review it for sure, but Hetymer, the ball was in the air, Hetymer caught the ball, jumped over the boundary, threw it back into play, and then he jumped back into play and took the catch on the rebound. That was extremely smart by Shimon Hetymer. They're reviewing it, but I think that he's going to have to go. That could be an excellent piece of cricket from Shimon Hetymer. Let's look at the replay. He took the catch inside of the circle, inside of the boundary line, and then he stepped out, threw it up in the air, stepped back in, and took the catch cleanly. That's out.
Exceptional work from Shimon Hetymer. We've seen this so frequently now in modern cricket. These fielders are so good at this. But this is not an easy catch. He had to step out and then step back in. The presence of mind to throw that ball up in the air and to throw it with control so that he can come back in and grab it on the second attempt. Phenomenal work, and they needed some sort of brilliance, the West Indies, to break this opening partnership. It was 77 in 6 overs. They were going at a pace, and Phil Salt will be the first batter dismissed. Brilliant catch. That has to go down all to Shimon Hetymer's brilliance in the outfield. But Russell will be the bowler who this wicket is accredited. 40 from just 20.
So strike rate of 200, 6 fours and 1 6. Salt's gone for 40. Caught Hetymer, bowled Russell, and the Windies finally have something in that right-hand column. And it's Andre Russell, the man from Kingston, Jamaica, who has not played a while for the Windies, 35 years old, has played a lot of cricket in the IPL and the Big Bash, just about almost every T20 league, but he has been absent for a while for the Windies. He's back, I don't want to say with a bang because that's just 1 wicket, but he'll be very happy that he's actually got this partnership broken. But Will Jacks has come, 7 innings, only 108 runs, the best of 40, so his career still is loading, unlike Russell's, which is perhaps now at about 80 or 90%. Here he comes in now and bowls. First ball to Jacks, and Jacks gets delivered as short with some pace as well. And there was Jacks fending it off and playing it down to third man. There's a fielder there, so they only get 1. Jacks is off the mark. 78 now for 1.
Now this is where the challenge really is. Post that power play, when the field is spread and there are additional fielders out on the boundary, can England maintain that tempo? They've lost a wicket now. How do they go about the next couple overs? As we see on the replay, that piece of brilliance from Shimon Hetymer right in front, the Greenwich and Haynes stand in front, a lot of English supporters. That would have silenced them momentarily.
Here comes Russell now, bowls to Butler, and Butler this time is steering the ball to short third man. They'll take a quick single, the throw comes in, hits the stumps, ricochets, and there was thoughts there of perhaps an overthrow, but that did not materialise. Settled for the single. 79 for 1 now. The run rate is 12.12. What a crowd we've got. It's a beautiful night here at Kensington. You can see some stars in the sky twinkling as the England fans dominate the spectators again. I would say this time it was on about 85-15 on Saturday. Today I think it's about 65 or 70-30. Would you reckon, Sammy?
Yeah, just about. I think your maths is just on point there, Barry.
Here comes Russell now. He runs in and bowls to Jax. And Jax this time gets a delivery that's on the line of the off stump. Steered down to third man again. Coming into action is Alzari Joseph. And there is just one more run. 80 now for one and over number 7.
Yeah, this one is shaping up to be just as exciting and entertaining as the series last year. Early part of 2022, that 5-match series that West Indies eventually won 3-2. The first match was low score and England only got to 103, but the next 4 were absolutely breathtaking ones to look at.
Here comes the bowling of Russell now, most of Butler. And Butler's looking to again just use the upper hand to steer it to third man. Misses it, taken there by the keeper. So Nicholas Pooran doing the keep in. You surprised that Hope has not taken the gloves?
Yeah, a little bit. I think that she Hope might have considered it for a little while. Nicholas Pooran does the outfield really good, but it doesn't matter either way. Both of them are quite experienced and quite skilled at wicket keeping, and both of them are quite good in the outfield as well.
Russell now to Butler, who's on 28. Bowls to Butler, and Butler this time is driving straight to cover. No run there for him. Looks to be like Brandon King. That cover there picks up. To end the over, 7 overs gone. England being axed about by the Windies are 80 for 1, with Jax on 2 and Butler on 28. 16 dot balls. We've had 10 fours, 2 6s, and this crowd have been treated to a belter to begin this first CG United T20 series. I told you there's another game on Thursday in Grenada. Then there's another one in Grenada on Saturday, and then it moves to Trinidad and Tobago for the finale at the Brian Lara Stadium, where of course there will be 2 matches on Thursday and then Saturday. So all set for what should be a thrilling T20 contest. Romario Shepherd is going to come on now, and he'll take over from Alzari Joseph. 32 matches, Romario Shepherd, 31 wickets. He's been more useful as a batsman, lower order batsman these days than he has been a bowler. He's definitely got to tighten up on that aspect. Here he comes in now as he passes umpire Gustard and bowls to Jackson. Jackson driving, square the offside. This is going to go towards the boundary, but there's a fielder there and there's only one. Hetymer is onto it quite quickly and it's now 81 for 1.
A very high economy for Romario Shepherd. As you mentioned, it's an area that he is continually working on, trying to improve and to try to bring down that economy. Just want to see how he operates in the spell under some pressure. Yes, England have a healthy start. They have one set batter and another one who's quite destructive. I want to see if he uses the dimensions on offer as well as that win factor and maybe those slower balls that he's become quite adept at.
Here he comes now to Shepherd and bowls to Butler, and Butler gets a good delivery on the line. The all-stump, forced to defend. Dot ball is like gold dust in these T20s. Plays it back to the ball and there's no run. So we've got a short third man. We've got a backward point, sweeper, extra cover, mid-off, long on, mid-wicket on the boundary, and a backward square on the boundary, and a fine leg. So, pretty interesting field there for Romario Shepherd as he comes in again and passes the umpire and bowls to Butler. And Butler this time is hitting this in the air out to the cover area. He'll get an easy single because the captain, Rodman Powell, is very deep at that cover position and allowing for what was 1 run. But since that wicket, we've seen just about 7 balls consecutively that have not gone for boundary and just slowed up and checked the score a little bit.
Yeah, that's what you usually get just outside the power play. Something that teams have tried to address and they want to continue that pace, but the wicket, that is what really has changed the equation.
Yes, it has, as Shepherd is again. Comes in and bowls to Jackson. Jackson's time tails away, steers the ball again out to the backward point area, down to the boundary. Running in there is Hetymer, and that's just 1 run. So another single, pushing up the score to 83. Of course, we saw another T20 international today being played with India and South Africa. The South Africans winning that by Ducket and Lewis Stern. So international cricket has not even taken a breather after the World Cup. They've gone straight into it. In fact, I think Mitch Marsh was complaining that he was very unhappy that they weren't able to go back to Australia to celebrate the World Cup win. Shepherd again bowls a slow delivery, driven straight to mid-off. Jason Holt is there, can't stop the single. 1 more run to push the total now to 84 for 1 in over number 8.
And less than 6 months' time, we have another ICC World Cup, the T21. And these teams, they have very few matches between now and then. Take, for instance, the West Indies. They have these 5 matches, followed by 3 in Australia, and then a further 3 against South Africa before that. So it's a limited opportunity for the coaching staff, the selectors, and even the players to fine-tune their skills and to identify perhaps that 15-man squad that the West Indies will be hopeful for can do well in the World Cup.
Shepherd goes, and this one is whacked away, but straight to the field there on the sweeper boundary in Shimron Hetymer again, so just another run. 8 overs gone, and the West Indies, who won the toss and put the English in to bat, they're 85 for 1. 85 for 1.
And from an England standpoint, they only have 5 matches post this one against Pakistan. So they have in total 10 T20 internationals at this stage before that T20 World Cup for them to look at their potential players and to see who are the best fit for that title defense. Remember, England are the defending champions, and I like what they did today in pairing both Adil Rashid and Rian Ahmed together to see what they can do. Adil Rashid, we know, is phenomenal, is very experienced, but Rian Ahmed, he bowls really well against left-handed batters. West Indies have a few, Shimron Hetmeyer, Nicholas Pooran, to name a couple. So I'd like to see how they operate together against this West Indian batting lineup.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's Jacks on strike as Joseph now is bowling, and this delivery is whacked in the air. It's gone out to long off. Is it gone over? Yes, it has. That's 6. That was pitched on the line, the all stump. Jacks tailed away. He smashed it high, really high. It was difficult to tell. It was going towards the 3W stand, and in the end, it just landed just to the left of the sight screen for a mighty 6.
The unforgettable night so far. This one pumped straight back over his head. Alzari Joseph, very expensive in over number 1. Starts off this one with a 6, and he's under pressure. Will Jacks, we saw him in the ODI. We saw how potent and powerful he can be.
Here he comes in again now, bowls to Jacks, and Jacks this time gets the one. He's hitting it high. That's gone a mighty, mighty long way. That's another 6. This time it's gone over fine leg. It was smashed high. It actually came off the top edge, and it raced up in the air, way down to fine leg, over fine leg. Back-to-back 6s on both sides of the ground. The first over long off, the next over fine leg. Alzari Joseph being taken to the cleaners here.
Yeah, opposite sides of the ground. This one was unintentional, but the commitment to the stroke, and guess what, Barry? It's another no ball.
Oh, that's another no ball. Not good enough. His second from Alzari Joseph, and from both ends. He was bowling from the Malcolm Marshall end when he delivered a no ball. They've switched him now to the Joe Garner end, and he's overstepped there. So guess what? Jacks has got a free hit. He's on 17 and it's 98 for 1. Can't change the field. This is a free hit. So here comes Alzari Joseph now, and bowling the free hit to Jacks. What would he do? Tails away, and he's playing this with a mightily big, thick edge down to the short third man and can't score. Bad luck there for him.
Yeah, he doesn't need an invitation to go after the ball in Will Jacks. He's batting every delivery as though it's a free hit, and the one that was actually a free hit, he wasn't able to score from, but he's made up his mind. He's committed to playing his shots. He's hitting with the wind, batting from this end, so anything that is marginally short, he will take on the fielder in the deep. But Alzari Joseph, how expensive he has been so far. What can he do to redeem himself? He's looking to make a change in field. He wants to bring someone in. The deep backward square comes into the inner circle. Mid-off goes back to long off, so possibly thinking of a fuller length. That last delivery was a Yorker that was guided straight to short third. What does he do now?
Well, he steams in now and passes the umpire and goes, and this delivery is whacked again. It's in the air. This is a chance for a catch at cover. Catch taken, or did he drop it? Taken in the end by Brandon King. Really good catch. Jason Holder was running in as well from the long off. Brandon King was running from the cover, and it was hit so high. Brandon King in the end had to dive, but he controlled the catch well, and England have lost their second wicket, and the mighty Alzari Joseph, who's taken a blundering tonight, has actually got one in the right hand column.
Yeah, a redemption of sorts for Alzari Joseph. Jacks goes for an impactful 17 from just 9 deliveries. West Indies, they picked their second wicket, desperately needed England high octane start from them, boundaries galore, and that continued attacking approach we've seen. And it's Ben Ducket who will be the new batter. But it was a fantastic catch from Brandon King in the night. You don't really have that depth perception, so you're not entirely sure how quickly that ball is dropping. He wasn't sure too of the fielder that was coming in, Jason Holder, around his right shoulder, but he kept his eye on the ball all the time, and then at the last moment had to dive forward to clinch a clinical catch. So 2 good catches from the West Indies so far to result in those 2 wickets. Ben Ducket, 12 innings in T20Is, 301 runs, a best of 17 not out. So the only left-hander in the top 5 for England comes to the wicket.
Yeah, Ben Ducket, who has been playing all 3 formats of the game, which is something you don't really see a lot for England. A lot of the England players have either been just playing white ball cricket or red. He's playing all 3, so they obviously are quite happy. Something quite special about Ben Ducket. They look at that catch again. Very well controlled catch in the end there by Brandon King. So Ducket to face his first ball. Here comes Joseph now. Bowls to left-handed Ducket. Ducket is turning this one into the onside to get off the mark just for the square for 1. And that will take the total now to 99, is it? For 2? In fact, 99 for 2. Butler, still a couple of balls left. Butler's on 30 from 24.
Now with the left-handed Ducket at the crease now, I just wonder if we would see the reintroduction of Akil Hussein, or Captain Rahman Powell will think twice about bringing him back on. I was just thinking prior to that dismissal to reintroduce the spin to sort of slow things down a little bit, but now with the left-hander there, that plan might change a little bit. A lot of medium pace bowlers available for Captain Rahman Powell, and we'll just have to continue with that. Even someone like a cameo, just to slow it down and touch and use those slower deliveries.
So here comes Joseph now, and balls, and this delivery is outside the line of the off stump, not timed at all. Very well fielded by the bowler, who was fielding his own bowling. Played back to his right, jumped over the pitch, picked it up, and there's no run. So just 1 shy short of the 100. You would have expected England at the rate they were going at to be there by now, but they have been definitely checked in terms of their run rate. West Indies have been pretty good in the last 3 overs or so. Pretty good captaincy by Rahman Powell. As Joseph comes in now, the final ball of the 9th. Bowls this one that is driven. Square the offside. That's going to go towards the boundary. That's gone before. It was a little dab, a little late cut. And it was able there to elude. Looks to me like that's Shehope, and it's gone into the boundary for 4 runs. So the 100 finally comes up. 103 for 2 after 9. Ducket is on 1. Butler's on 4. We had Salt caught Hetymer ball Russell 40 from 20. And we also saw Jacks caught King ball Joseph for 17 from 9, with Brooke, Livingston, Sam Curran, Wokes, Rian, Rashid and Mills to come. 11 extras, 103 for 2 after 9. Here's Samuel Badger.
Yeah, too many extras for me. In only 9 overs, we've already seen 11 extras conceded by the West Indies. It's something that you can ill afford, and in that we've had 2 no balls as well, resulting in free hits. Something teams and bowling coaches often talk about is maintaining that discipline, particularly in the shorter formats. You don't want to give opposition teams extra deliveries and extra runs freely. You now see the reintroduction of Romario Shepherd from the Malcolm Marshall end, bowling to Ben Ducket for the first time. He has a short third, backward point. He has a sweep on the boundary and protection on the leg side too.
Here he comes in on balls. This one is driven out to cover, but there's a fielder on the boundary. He'll run a couple of steps to his left. That's Andre Russell. Picks it up, throws it in, and there's just 1 run. Did you believe that Russell was fit enough, good enough to get back into this team?
Yeah, Andre Russell has done it for such a long time for so many teams that he's played for. 35 years of age, and with that T20 World Cup just less than 6 months away, I think his recall is an intention, a clear intention from the selectors that they want to see what he can do.
Slow delivery on the line, the off stump, pushed out to cover again. Shimron Hetymer is there, picks it up, and there's just 1 more run.
Yeah, and they believe that he still has the quality to make an impact in international cricket, and we know from experience when he's on song, when he's on his day, he can take apart any opposition, and he can also contribute with the ball. But I just think that with the glut of all-rounders that the West Indies have currently, can he fit or can he transition smoothly back into the starting 11? We saw the conundrum today in terms of that selection with only the one spinner.
Shepherd again comes in and bowls to Ducket, and Ducket is driving. This is going to go down to the boundary, just between the short third man and backward point. 4 runs. That boundary there is unprotected, and it means now that Ducket moves to 6, and the total is 109 for 2.
Yeah, thickish outside edge really from Ben Ducket. He might have opened the face of the bat, but gets it in the gap importantly and adds to the tally. England are racing away here. There's no slowing down despite the fall of that second wicket. They seem intent on carrying on with that level of aggression.
Shepherd in again, turns and bowls again to the left-handed Ducket, and Ducket is driving again, pushes the ball out to cover. Russell called to account, picks it up, and there's just 1 run. 110 then for 2. Ben Ducket, of course, the man from Kent, 29 years of age, is playing, I should say, 15 tests, 11 ODIs. This is his 11th T20 as well for England. As Romario Shepherd now passes the umpire and bowls, and this time is played again behind point. A chance to run out of the non-striker's end, thrown in just about now by Hope, but he misses, and the batsmen get another single. Butler moves quietly along to 36 from 28, and it's a Nelson, 111 for 2.
Two-time T20 champions England. They won, of course, in 2010, that edition of the T20 World Cup hosted here in the Caribbean. West Indies two-time World Cup champions. So these two teams have lots of pedigree when it comes to T20 cricket.
Yeah, the one right here at this ground as Shepherd bowls, and this one is driven beautifully out to the mid-on area. Just 1 run. So 1 run to end the over. Halfway stage, 10 overs gone. England being asked to bat their 112, 1-1-2 for 2, with Butler on 36. Ducket is on 8. The run rate 11.20, as they are really going great guns. Slowed up a little bit, but this partnership has begun to build again. England seem to be smiling at the moment. John Norman, to resume the commentary.
Thank you very much, Barry Wilkinson. Yep, summed up perfectly. England 112 for 2 after 10 overs, with Ben Ducket and Jos Butler at the crease. You're listening to TalkSport 2. Get in touch with us at cricket_TS or at TalkSport 2, or via the new TalkSport Cricket YouTube channel. I'm just scanning through some of the comments. Would you agree with this, Bats, that Death Rider 54 says England's still on for an easy 200 plus at the moment? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, the numbers say that you should easily be doubling your score with wickets in hand. The captain, Butler, 36 not out. There's some incredible power to come. Brooke, Livingston, Curran, Wokes, you would say, all strike a mean ball. Rahan and Rashid, both of them come back very, very pleasantly as well. So no, there's huge amounts of ammunition for England.
And Jared, would you agree with Death Rider 54 when he says Jos Butler is playing the anchor role like Craig Brathwaite does for the West Indies Test team?
I mean, what I like is that the Surrey coach had to answer a question from Death Rider 54. I think that...
Hey, everybody's welcome.
Exactly.
We were just talking about the Brathwaites off air, weren't we?
There's a lot of Brathwaites, isn't there? Look, I think me and Bats were talking about this on and off air, that Butler just doesn't look like his feet and hands are right. His balance isn't always there. He's probably trying to get some time in the middle, Bats, I'd say, isn't he?
Yeah, but it actually balances up beautifully, doesn't it? The way that Salt goes at the ball, it allows Butler to find his feet, pardon the pun from what you were saying. And then Jax has come in and played out Jacko Canny. He goes hard and looks to take the game on again. So the scoreboard is always ticking along, and does Jos need to take some of the risks that the games sometimes present themselves? You don't when those two go as they are doing. And this is going to sound bizarre, but Duckett's not a big fella, but he's a perfect foil now, because he hits those gaps. He hits that sort of backward behind point. He'll flip it over square leg. He does that sort of beautiful using the pace, which then the bowlers are changing up for Joss and they might go into his slot, so he just gets that bit of rhythm. I think his last couple of balls, how he moved up and down the wicket with a bit more weight in his right foot going down the pitch, transition from right foot to left foot, I feel like he's just starting to move a little bit better. The one there nearly ran himself out to backward point. He moved really nicely for that.
The words of Gareth Batty, the Surrey head coach. Back-to-back title winners, of course, in your first 2 years as coach. I mean, that doesn't happen often, does it? If ever. Jared, historian of cricket.
I don't have any numbers, but I don't want to say anything nice about bats, so I'm sure it happens quite regularly.
Never been done before, my friend. Read 'em and weep.
Hussein into Ducket. This is down the leg side, clipped away for a single through square leg. Ducket wants a second, Butler's not quite so sure. I remember watching Ben Ducket. Talksport had the rights to the it was a NatWest Blast at the time, and Ducket was playing for Northants 2016, and he played an innings against Notts in the semi-final, which saw Northants through, and it was just such a classy inning. Butler playing back, clipping the ball into the leg side, fielded by the bowler, 1 run. 114 for 2.
Brilliant fielding, by the way, to get to that as quickly as he did. Ducket against left-arm finger spinners has a strike rate of 175. Butler is 123, so there was no reason to look for a second one there anyway.
Sweeps hard from sort of straight mid-wicket around to square leg. It's tough to set a field for.
Left-handed Ducket has got a wide-ish stance on the pull, no real timing. This is fielded by Andre Russell at mid-wicket. 1 run, 115 for 2. Hussein was expensive with his first over, dragging things back though. He really came to prominence against England in that series at the start of last year with the bat as much as anything. This is fired in a little bit, no timing again from Butler, who swivels and pulls and is going to come back for the second. Decent running, it's not a bad throw. Wasn't quite flat enough though, but 2 runs to the score, 117 for 2.
I'm not sure this pitch is quite as flat as the score is saying at the minute. That ball just stayed a little bit low on Butler. Had to really hold his energy through his legs to get enough bat on it and not play over the ball. The odd one's gripped a little bit.
We saw that earlier in the piece, didn't we? And as you made mention, he still doesn't quite look like he's fighting himself basically. And that may be the end of Butler. It is Hetymer running in from the mid-wicket boundary. A top edge with Butler on the pull. And the innings that comes to a close. 117 for 3, and Butler's got to go for 39.
Yeah, certainly on a pitch with possibly different pace, different reactions off the surface. Drive it into the top of the stumps, which is what Hussein's done. Butler trying to get back. And gone back straight, which is a good way to move really if you're wanting to open up that leg side, but it's just stayed in the surface. It's got the top edge of the bat and it's gone high, real high above the lights of the Barbados ground, but not high and far enough out of the ground for Joss Butler. It was a nice knock without him really finding his fluency, but if in doubt as a spinner in T20 cricket, drive the ball in hard at the top of the stumps and let the surface and batsman error work for you, and it did on that occasion.
Just again, we had another high catch from the West Indies that was taken very close to the surface for no real reason. It's like they always seem to be late getting to their positions for the catches, and we saw a lot of drops in the ODIs. It's a baffling trend. I don't know if you've seen this before, Bat.
No, I reckon there was a shot. It was about 20-30 minutes ago. You could see the skyline. It felt a bit sort of twilighty. We get it more in England than anywhere else, but it did feel like the lights haven't taken full effect. So it's sometimes tough to pick up and to get the way the ball's falling out of the sky.
Harry Brooke is the new batter, and he will face this delivery from Hussein, which is on a 5th stump line, cut away, and Brooke gets off the mark. Brooke was let go by Sunrisers Hyderabad. He will re-enter the IPL draft, which I believe is on the 19th. December?
Yeah, 19th or 20th, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, to be honest, he was probably overpaid considering he didn't have a lot of experience over there, and you see that a lot, and then they overreact by getting rid of him But there's been some very odd moves, especially one franchise getting rid of Hardik Pandya for cash and not taking any resources off the opposition.
Leave off Vikram. Leave off him. He's done a wonderful job. They've won it once.
They didn't play Brooke in the position that he does and has been successful, though. He was opening for Sunrisers, is that right?
I think he batted in a few spots in the end, didn't he? I don't know. It's one. You see this where you pay a lot of money to a player and you kind of think that they're going to do whatever you want them to do, and it doesn't always work that way. And I think they lost patience. And then he hit the big 100, didn't he? And so I thought that maybe had saved him, but.
They do like a shiny new thing, though, don't they?
Well, I mean, that's the other issue, isn't it? I mean, Dual Brevis, we were being told was the next coming, and it can barely get into a side, right? Cameron Green.
Here is Brooke down the leg side. This dies on the keeper. Wide called. 119 for 3. Get in contact with us at cricket_TS. Neil has done so on the TalkSport Cricket YouTube channel. Absolutely love Jared and John. Just checking to see if Bats is mentioned. No. Got a photo with them at Lord's last year. What if it's that guy? Can you remember?
I don't remember anyone taking a photo with us.
Oh, come on. It doesn't happen that often.
Oh, yeah. It's tough for me to walk down the street.
Neil, thanks for joining us.
Oh, there was a guy at Lord's.
See, told you. Yeah. Well, it might not have been him, but I can't remember any other person taking your photo or mine together. Holders back, and again, a swing and a miss. On the pull is Brooke. But this will be called wide again. So 2 wides at the start of Holder's third over. 120 for 3 after 11 here on TalkSport 2 England.
Yeah, you can see what Holder's trying to do is trying to cramp Brooke on his hip, trying to use his height and get it just that fraction full of length, but get it jumping into that hip, but just getting a fraction too straight. He struggled in the power play to get the line right. Got the length pretty good from time to time, but just got it either a fraction wide of off stump or a fraction down the leg side like we're seeing here.
One of 4 players in the side who made their way from Abu Dhabi to the Caribbean, so I imagine they must have flown via London. That's a big old journey. Fuller, and is that an edge? Is Brooke going to go? The umpire's finger is up. A wild swipe by Brooke, trying to deposit the ball over long off. He could only get the outside edge, and England lose a cheap one. They're 120 for 4.
Yeah, it's a slower ball, off cutter, off spinner, whatever you want to call it, from Jason Holder. Brooke, I think, seen this out of the hand. I reckon he's lined it up and he's trying to smash him like you would do an off spinner over long on. Just not quite got the timing of his movement right and got a big thick edge and turned straight around and walked off, did Harry. But credit to him for walking and saving everybody's time on the modern technology that you don't get away with much anymore. But nice piece of bowling from Holder, following up the 2 wides with a slower ball. Brave to take pace off after already starting your over with an extra couple of balls.
I think this is Jason Holder's probably best period to bowl is probably between about the 11th over and the 16th over before the death really starts. Also, there's a little bit more bounce on the ball, which is what helped him with that wicket there. Once he gets to the death, he starts to get hit a little bit more. He doesn't have great slower balls, and he needs that little bit of assistance off the pitch.
Now, what you're saying is it's that window with the ball where the lacquer's gone off, so it just holds in the surface a little bit more, but it's not like the death overs where it holds in even more and it sits up. So it's perfect for his height and trajectory into the surface, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is where you fit, there's so many. We haven't seen Kyle Mayers or Rodman Powell yet. They've got so many medium paces to use.
Livingston facing first ball, he comes down the track. And in the end, kind of aborts on the shot, squirts through to the keeper. No run. Neil has got back in touch. He says, scroll to the top, lads. I did mention Bats. What a shame.
Disappointing.
Love you, Neil.
Should we see what he says? Absolute pleasure to hear Gareth Batty on comes again.
I don't know why you just didn't lie and just have Neil just slagging off Bats.
One of my favourites. Lift and bounce again from Holder. Livingston on the move. He kind of rides this, but reacts almost like it's taken him by surprise. No run. This is good from Holder.
Yeah, I feel like this is his skill. Normally you were looking at spinners to be holding the game in these periods, but he's almost bowling like a spinner. And Rob Key would be loving him. He'd be in the India team if he was India squad, because he's height and he's getting it into the surface, and the numbers say that's the way to do it now.
Hold again. Touch Fuller takes the pace off, and Livingston clips this away for a single.
Any thoughts on that selection then?
I think we might be talking about that during the mid-innings break.
Nothing to do with me. That's above my pay grade.
Matt Barton's got in contact via @Talksport 2. He says, sat by the pool in Coffs Harbour, New South Wales, 28 degrees, listening to this. Cheers, guys. Come on, England. He thinks 230's on. Well, 100 in the last 9 overs. 8 overs, actually. That would be something. I've been to Coffs Harbour. Have you been to Coffs Harbour?
Yes, I'm Australian.
Well,
I suppose I haven't been everywhere.
It is
a big place.
Yeah. And you are from Victoria. Nicely played.